Hi, Em.
Hi, Kate.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Well, if it's Wednesday, it must be Facebook Live on beadshop.com.
Live from California.
I'm going to take, you have a lint.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I can't let you go on with a lint.
I'll look for something on yours
Am I
to
okay?
pick off. You
Am
look
I
good.
all right?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, you look good.
Sorry, I just
Happy
couldn't do it.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, so we're live from beadshop.com right here in Redwood City, California. If it's Wednesday, it's time to do a project.
I think I'm really looking forward to this one. It's one I haven't done yet, and so I didn't want to, see anything beforehand. I just
all
was
new.
like, wait. I want to have that experience,
Right, so
that
it's
moment of, that those guys, everybody else gets out there that I don't get so
right.
often. So.
Well, it'll be kind of like, when you do a seed bead thing, and I'm like, I've never done this before. It'll be kind of like that, only with wire. But you are very super accomplished with wire, your own self.
You were my first teacher for wire.
I think I did know that.
You had short brown hair in those days, with kind of loose on top,
Right, kind of
fluffy, and short in the back. And you were real cute.
Oh,
You were very
cute.
personable.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
How many, that was, I must have taught that, I don't know, did I teach it over at the bead store, Baubles and Beads, where you used to work?
I think it was around
That's so funny.
1910?
1910?
Well, around 94,
Oh,
93,
yeah,
94,
yeah.
maybe 95,
Wow.
but in there.
Well, we've been doing this together for a long time, Emily Miller.
I know.
And now look at us. It's the year 2000.
18.
Right. That's what happened. Well, let me jump on and see how we look. How we looking, Brandon?
We've got people all saying Happy Valentine's
Hey,
Day.
awesome.
Hello, and how lovely you both look.
Oh,
Great. Thank you,
well,
everyone.
Happy Valentine's
Thank you.
Day, everybody. I see, Emily, that you're wearing... Oh, wait, you took off the heart on your sleeve. You had
it's
it
on
earlier.
my sweater, yeah.
Oh, it was on your sweater.
It got too warm.
But you're also wearing a great piece that
Yeah.
you made there. Isn't that great?
Yep. This is also another heart from my heart collection.
Your PMC, when you
Right.
teach PMC,
Yep.
it's pretty amazing.
So a nice little silver heart.
I like it. Whoops, I had that down. It looks great, and I'm wearing a collection. You remember how back in the day when you used to go to the Hallmark store and you could buy like holiday pins at the Hallmark store, like a rabbit for Easter and a big egg, or I don't know.
I never have to worry about it getting you something because I can always just get you a
Always
pin.
get me a pin. It is so true. So these are from when I've had these, I don't know, since I was a little girl, really. And that was a while ago. So my gran used to take me down to the Hallmark store, and downtown they'd have that little display. So I think I got both of these from the Hallmark store.
And you have your
A little shiny one.
cute little dress with the red
Right,
heart
hearts,
prints.
because it's Heart Day.
It's Valentine's Day.
It's Heart
so it's
Day.
a good day to do it.
A little heart charm bracelet with some vintage hearts there. But,
And I always have a heart on my
on your
diamond.
ring.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
From your Ed.
Yes.
That's right.
Yep.
Hearts. Well, it looks like we've got so many people have jumped on.
Oh, Suzanne says they call it Friends Day in Finland.
Friends Day in Finland.
I like that.
I love it. So, Suzanne, I got some ancestry stuff back. It was kind of exciting for me. And it said that I had an
Finnish?
ancestor that was Finnish.
Wow.
So, Suzanne, maybe you're my cousin. But back between 1700 and like the mid-1800s, that one of my ancestors
I never thought I wanted
Finnish
to do
extraction.
I never thought I wanted to do the 23andMe. I know kind of a lot about my ancestry, but
it was fun.
it's kind of interesting.
It was fun
to hear all about that.
Yeah. So who knows, Suzanne?
Suzanne, do you have these
Maybe
in Finland? I don't think that you
maybe
do.
we're cousins.
These are a traditional
We are. We're having some yummy
candy.
Cara brought in Conversation Hearts today.
And Conversation Hearts, for those of you who may not have them or can't remember having them, they come in a little box.
Yes, those are little boxes here. Cara brought them in to everybody.
Thank
and look,
you, Cara.
she even said, look, they have a little Valentine's thing that says, for
Sorry.
Kate from Cara. And they're called conversation hearts. And when you were in elementary school, it used to be a big thing. You know, you give everybody a Valentine in your classroom. We made little Valentine's bags, right?
We did a shoebox.
You did?
We did a shoebox on the desk, and then it was like a little mailbox.
Shoebox. You guys were fancy. We just did like lunch bags, and you draw it with a heart and stuff like that. And then, yeah, you'd tape it to your desk, and then when you got there in the morning, you'd put every Valentine, each Valentine in, and I would always put in 2 for the boy that I liked.
But these little conversation hearts say things on them,
but
so they're kind of a fun little treat when we've been kids. Since we've been kids, they don't taste all that great.
No,
than
they
sweet,
actually taste horrible. But like some of these things say, like, be my, well,
BF. I think
is it BF? See, Brenda and I were discussing this before we went on the air. And conversation hearts back in our day
had much better printing.
Well, yeah, you could see what they said. So this says, be my, maybe my GF, be my gluten-free.
Girlfriend?
Could be. I like GF. I like
How about this one?
Better. This one, that doesn't say anything.
It does so.
Oh, it says te amo.
It says te amo.
I can read that one.
And you can get them in Spanish, too.
This one says, let it something.
Let it.
I don't know. They're so bad. This one, I don't know what this even says.
It's a big blur.
It's a big blur. So,
Janice wants to
come
find the
on.
one that says bead mine.
Bead mine. That's right. So
we should
come
see if we
on.
can get these printed with stuff on
Come on,
ourselves.
I bet you could.
I bet you can.
So come on, Conversations Hearts
Get with
Company. Let's make this printing a little
Sweet
bit
tarts.
better.
Necco wafer people.
Necco, I think, makes them. Yeah,
Rock
this one's just, I don't know.
Oh, this one says ooh la la on it.
Oh, that's a nice one. This
Yeah.
one, again, has a smudge. But I like it. Then they don't have white ones anymore. The white ones are my
I don't
favorite.
remember the white ones.
I think it's
honestly.
Brock's.
Maybe.
They have a good.
Oh.
I'm just going to complain about all of our
But
conversations.
it is a tradition here on
It
Valentine's Day.
is. So happy Valentine's Day. It says dream big on here, which I like.
I like that too.
I like it
Yeah.
too. So, and this, yeah, it should say bead mine
Absolutely.
on the back. Let me take a swig of coffee because that was a lot. And still have a little bit of a cough. I'm still on recovery from that Tucson extravaganza.
Oh man, Tucson is because it's the atmosphere there is so different from what we're used to. We're used to this nice Bay Area microclimate moisture thing.
Right.
Tucson is being so dry. You don't really understand how dry it is until you're there for a couple of days, and your sinuses get kind of dried out. Your mouth's always dry.
Yeah.
You drink a lot of water, and it just doesn't seem to go anywhere.
No, it doesn't seem to go anywhere.
It's kind of amazing, and acclimatizing back here is sure a different feeling.
Yeah.
We both had kind of a little Tucson crud.
Right, we did. But
Or germs of many lands,
yes,
as we like to
as
say.
we like to say, but we are back on the mend. We wanted to give a few shout outs. Everyone saying hello and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Our Gita is on, and Gita, we are thinking of you, your wonderful country, Denmark. You were saying your beloved queen's husband, Prince Henrik, passed away last night. So our good thoughts to all of our friends in Denmark. I'm sorry. We're so sorry to hear that.
It's always sort of a passing of an era.
Yeah,
when
passing
that kind
of an
thing,
era, for
somebody,
sure.
Somebody passes away who's sort of
Who's that
known
figurehead.
by everyone.
And we are also, people are watching the Olympics and Facebook Live all at the same time. It's our Olympics
Figure
time.
skating
It's
last
very
night
exciting.
I watched, and it was magical. The pairs dancing, which
Yes,
is one
it
of my
was.
favorites.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, and my
I
best
like
friend
ice
actually
dancing.
used to do ice skating.
Really?
And I would go and see her.
Really?
She skated at the Charles Schultz
Wow.
Arena up
Oh,
in Santa Rosa.
How cool.
Yep. She was
Yes.
Snoopy a couple times. and
Oh, well, we
Yeah.
love Olympic times here. It's
Yeah.
fun. And I feel like, since our bead table people have come all over, not only am I rooting for, USA teams, but I think, oh, that person's from so-and-so. That's an Australian,
Or
I don't know, a Finnish person, right,
There was
or
a bunch
whatever.
of cross-country skiing last night.
Yeah.
It was really amazing.
I'm all, I need to root for my secondary country. So it was pretty awesome. So it's great. We did want to mention, because since it's Valentine's Day, we're a little chatty this morning. But if you do want to watch, I know a lot of you are new watching our broadcasts. So we broadcast every Wednesday and Friday right here from our headquarters at beadshop.com
10:30.
at 10:30. That's Pacific time. So if you you just type in 10:30 Pacific time in your time converter, and it'll pop up when we pop up on your screen. You can also watch us after the fact. I know that a lot of you have just joined our Facebook group, the Bead Table, and are from all over and are just coming over to watch this for maybe the first time or the first few times. You can watch us, of course, live here on our Facebook page
While
on
it's
Wednesdays
happening.
while it's happening. But you can also watch us later. You can watch us on this Facebook page, watch the replay. You can watch us on our website, on our Facebook page, and also, of course, on our YouTube channel.
And I will say, I said it before, I'll say it again. I
Do it.
like
Say it again.
I like the YouTube channel. To me it moves along a little bit more quickly. We do kind of chatty. Most of the time I don't, on the second viewing, I don't need to see the comments because I
No,
already kind of
yeah,
know what happened. But I like that it's a little faster, the player's a little faster
Yeah.
to scroll around.
Yeah.
too.
And so what you can do is, if you're watching us on YouTube and you don't want to watch this chit chat, just move your marker at about 15 minutes in and you'll get right to the learning. Also, there's a few ways that we also kind of enhance the experience
That's right.
on here.
Extra learning.
Extra learning. If you go to our Facebook, not our Facebook, our website, beadshop.com, and you click on Facebook Live, all of the Facebook Live broadcasts will pop up, the pages for them. And we have listings for all the project, all the ingredients that we used in the project, plus any handout that's downloadable, plus on the Monday after the broadcast, there are episode notes. Dria's been doing those now lately, and they're amazing. Janice does them sometimes.
Yeah, it's really the complete package. To watch us live and to be able to follow along
Really
with some notes.
enhances the learning.
You know, Drea and Janice put in the episode notes some time markers, so when certain techniques are happening, you can go right to that time marker so you can see just that part, and then move on to the next time marker if that's what you want to do.
And it really, really helps.
But the episode notes really, they give pictures of the jewelry that we're wearing, and they acknowledge that we are Lucy and Ethel on a
That's
regular
right,
basis.
on a regular basis.
And it is the rest of the package. This is only part of it right here.
And it's great. You can really, we started those, I don't know, maybe mid-year last year, or maybe earlier last year. Episode notes have been going on for almost a year. So if you haven't explored some of our back catalog, those episode notes, they don't start at the beginning of when we started, but a few months after that. But it really does help to clarify what's going on.
And I also wanted to put in a plug for our recipe pages too. You know, we pick out several palettes to do these projects with, but our palettes are our palettes. It might not be your choice. If you would like to create from your own thing and your own palette, you can actually go and download the recipe card.
And the recipes, you keep talking about that. And
The
I'm gonna bring
recipes
them up
are
here.
right on the same page where you would go to in the Facebook program. In the right-hand edge, there's a little box and it says Shop, and then there's a palettes, and then the project, and then Recipe 2.
Recipes.
So that you can actually plug in your own items, maybe stuff that you already have at home, or add in something from us, but kind of tick all the boxes so that you have all the supplies and everything at hand to get through that.
And there's actually another place, Emily, that I didn't realize they were until Karen pointed it out to me. I'd kind of forgotten. But I wanted to show you, my computer's a little precariously balanced here, but can you see here how it says Bead Shop Recipes on this side nav bar? It's all right there. So if you click on Bead Shop Recipes, all of the recipes, the general recipes for all of these products come up. So let's look at the recipe for your heart on my sleeve, shall we?
Right, do it.
Click on that. And then see, here's the recipe. And then it links to kind of the generalized categories. So it makes it a lot easier for you guys to follow the recipe that way as well. So Karen heads this up, and Karen and Drea both are doing this, and they do a great job with this. So,
and you know, I kind of like the recipe thing.
Great
I'm
work. I'm gonna pull
actually
this
not
back
so
then.
great at following people's directions. Big surprise,
what
I'm
if-
sure.
no surprise there.
No surprise. But I kind of like to make my own way, but I really appreciate the knowledge that I have all the supplies at hand
Yeah.
and all the bits and pieces are together.
Makes
and
it
that's really, really good.
makes it so much easier, I think. All right, well, I'm going to have another drink of gin.
All right.
And let's get started. Just kidding. You guys know it's coffee. Well, at least you do now. Okay, so let's get this show on the road, you guys. So, Brandon,
Can
why
we
don't you go ahead?
show us the finished project before we do anything
Oh,
else?
okay. Let me
Yeah?
do that.
Because I want to
Thanks for
see them up
reminding me.
close again.
Yeah. So the piece that we're doing today, and I have this. I'm going to have you hold this. So let's do this first, Brandon, then we'll change it around. So that's the Freeform wire heart that we're doing today, and this project I think is a really fun one. I started doing wire. One of the first classes, actually, that I ever taught at beadshop.com when we were a brick and mortar was a wire class. We didn't have a wire class, and I thought we had a string class, we had a pearl knotting class, and I thought, why don't we have a wire class? And so wire was the first thing we jumped in with, or that I jumped in with. So not long after doing kind of a wire wrap thing, I started to play around with more freeform wire because I wanted to create, like I wanted all the beads, you know that feeling, you want all the beads like together, like you want to, at least I did, I wanted to like just put them on me like this, right? So that's how this technique came about. So I made, this is a necklace, and I'm not wearing the right outfit for it today, but this is a necklace that I made really, really early on with this freeform wire technique. And so this necklace technique and that heart technique are the same. We're just making two different shapes. So when I demonstrate this technique, I'm going to be doing it with some larger beads as well. And then Emily, you're going to be working on the other colorway with that.
Okay.
But it's like we're creating fabric with beads. That was my vision.
Yeah, it's so nice to see something that is, it's very structural. You know, a lot of times we talk about movement and wanting to have lots of dangle, but I do like how structural and how firm this is.
Yeah, it is like a
structure.
a structure, a piece.
There have been a lot of folks that are talking about on the Facebook page, excuse me, have been talking about stiffening seed bead work, and I am working on a little handout of sort to give them some
Great.
benefits that I've acquired over the years of how to make things a little bit firmer and more, make it into a pin and give it some backing and stuff like that.
That's
but this
great.
piece, I want to turn it over because you haven't seen the other side, doesn't have a back. Doesn't have to because the wire structure really holds itself all together in one piece.
I can't really get too close to it, so we might want to do that when I...
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
do that too when we...
Okay.
So let's go ahead and move the camera then, Brandon.
Okay, let's get going.
Great. Alrighty, so let me get my glasses on here. And let's take a look at some of the stuff we're going to use. I've got two color palettes here. One is called Morning Glory, and the other is called Carnation. And I've got, of course, all of my beads are untidy because we're working on stuff. But I know that you guys understand that you guys have untidy beads as well, right? I hope I'm not alone. And so let me get these here. So the basic ingredients for this piece, you need some small beads, right? But also beads with texture and shape. So this original one, I'll hold it over here, Brandon, so it's by the ones that I was using for this. I thought this would be a really great one for the peanuts. Now, whatever your name is over there, Emily.
What?
Emily.
Me?
We did, we use peanuts in your
Bead crochet.
your bead
Bits
crochet
and
class,
pieces.
right? That's why we got these in. And I'm just in love with these. These are a Japanese bead made by
I think they're Miyuki.
Miyuki, right? Same as our seed bead manufacturers. But they add a lot of texture to this design. So that's why we that's why I added the peanuts in here.
I love the texture of the peanuts. And the
I
peanuts
really
also
do.
kind of like the English cuts. Those are an old style, an
They are.
old shape.
That's right.
Around for a couple hundred years, probably.
No, I think it looks great. And then I also used our rice beads, these rice pearls, because again, I wanted something that had, I don't know, a little more shape to it, I guess.
I just did something with the rice pearls. And I have to say, they are a really pretty quality pearl. They have a ton of luster.
They do, a ton of luster. And yeah, and the hole size is nice.
Yep.
Now I don't know if they're around here, Emily, or if you can get your hands on them.
Sure.
I had the 2 old ones that I did. Were they in this box?
They weren't, but I can go look.
They might be in our Facebook. They might be floating around here. If they're not, they might be on my desk. Anyway, I had some old samples that I wanted to show you guys too, but we'll lay our hands on them. And then I also added, for a little bit of metal, I added this daisy spacer in. And then, of course, I just used some 11-aughts, and that was all she wrote for this one. So that was the thinking behind the color palette for this one, which is cool. So the new one, this Morning Glory palette that I've started the project over here, this was kind of our secondary one that we used. So I used some seed beads, and instead of 2 different seed beads, I used this 11-aught, this guy here, and this one is our Silverline Dark Lilac. Oh, perfect, thanks, Sam. The Silverline Dark Lilac. And then, instead of using a seed bead, I used a 2mm.
Oh, the True Cut.
True 2.
True 2.
Yeah.
Love those.
Which was really nice. So, so that kind of took the place of the seed bead. Then, in place of the rice bead, I used this 4mm fire polish, and that 4mm fire polish is the pastel bronze. And then I used this hematite strand. I just wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to it. So I used this hematite strand in bronze. It was this hematite rondelle. And then instead of the daisy spacer, I just used the plain Chirahishi. So so that would be good. And then, of course, I threw in a peanut, and I used this peanut in Pebble is the color. Okay. So, and there were some questions. You know, you can use any bead. I know that someone asked if we could use chips. Yes, the answer is yes.
I think chips would be great in
I think they would be great. Now, you can see this is one that I made a bazillion years ago. This one's probably 20 years old. And you can see I've got some rice pearls, rice-like pearls. They're kind of actually small, kind of oddly shaped rounds. But it's the only bead I used in here. So this one doesn't have any mix to it.
Right.
It's just that. So it really just depends on what you like. So that's this
I'm kind of
guy here.
impressed that you could unbury that after 20 years.
Well, you know, I have my jewelry archive. I have it all archived and in boxes. You've seen it in my bead storage in my studio. So that if someday the museum, whatever museum, contacts me for my retrospective, I'm ready to go.
The MoMA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. SF MoMA or MoMA New York.
Either way.
I'm ready for both of you.
Yeah.
So call me. Have my people call your people. So yeah, so that's that. So it just decides, you just figure out what you want to use. And then to make it a little extra special, and I think this would be fun for like Mother's Day as well too, is I added that pretty little briolette on the front. The one that I used on this old one was like a faceted garnet. We used to have those beads way back in the day at the bead shop. But I thought that the briolette looked really, really nice. So this one, I used the faceted carnelian briolette. But we have, you guys, a ton of different colors of briolettes. So you choose, like you could put a green one on there if your birthstone, you know, is like a peridot, like my mom's is. Or you could put like a lighter blue, you could put a purple, right? See, look at that amethyst. So it just depends on what you like. On this one, on the carnation one, I like the mix between the pink and then that blue briolette, and that's the aqua quartz, which is really pretty.
I think these would make really great bridesmaids gifts too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to wear at the wedding and then to kind of have afterwards.
Yeah, or you could tie them to like your bouquet or
Mm-hmm.
something. It'd be really, really fun. It'd be really fun. So, pardon me. Sorry about that. So to start, so that's everything we're going to need there. We're going to need some wire too. Now, again, wire, you can use just about any wire, depending on your beads. What I've done here on this one, we've used 26 gauge, but you could also use 28 gauge for this. What you need is a wire that's really malleable, that's kind of like thread.
So you want wire that's dead soft.
Yeah, dead soft wire, and wire that is easy to wrap and manipulate. 24 gauge may go through some of these beads, but for this size, it's a little big.
Right.
Right.
And you're using a lot of it in layers, so it's okay that it's a smaller wire.
It's a smaller gauge.
It's got some support.
Now on this one that I made, this here, I think, is 22 gauge. It might even be 20. I'd have to get out the millimeter gauge and measure it. But you can see...
God, these great tube
I know,
copper
right? Those
beads,
are
right?
so... I got those. Do you remember that old bead store way back in the day that was in Oakland?
Orb weaver.
Orb Weaver. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
That's where I got those. You know, I feel like I remember every bead that I ever bought, but yeah, I got those there.
A lot of times you do, right?
Especially the first beads that you buy, you know? Yeah, that was an era. That place was cool. I remember that.
Orb weaver was one of those kind of musty, dusty bead
It
stores.
was so old. Yeah, such an old. She used to send out a newsletter that she used to draw. I remember.
Oh.
Gosh, fun. Good old bead times days. But you can see that the holes and stuff on this piece, and they're all big beads. The smallest bead that's in here is probably this bead and this bead, which are about a 6 millimeter. So it just depends on the scale of what you're doing, right? So, so let me put this aside. I'm going to start, Emily, by showing you on some larger hold beads, some bigger beads. Pardon me, just so you can see this and you guys can at home see it a little bit easier. We've chosen some of our 5 millimeter rondelles, some of our melon beads, and some of our English cuts. And I just chose those just because they were a little bit bigger and a little bit easier for you guys to see. So on this, for this test run, I'm going to use 22 gauge. And again, that'll be easier for you guys to see. And then I'll translate it.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second.
Yep.
I think they're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Oh.
So that may just be because you're a little husky right at the moment. Do you want to talk up just a tiny bit?
A tiny bit? Sure. Are we having...
See if that helps.
I'll try and project a little bit more.
Get your teacher voice on.
All right, my teacher voice, not my Kate Richburg voice. Alrighty. let me redouble my efforts there. And also, you know what I will have?
What?
Oh, a mint.
Okay.
Another mint. Just for fun. So I'm going to straighten this out. And I'm going to use, this is our nylon jaw wire straightening plier. And this nylon jaw plier, especially for this project, you guys, is a must-have. Because as you're weaving things in and out and around, this wire has a tendency to get fairly kinked. Okay? So, so this tool, this nylon jaw plier, if your wire is kinked like this, let's kink it up here, like that. If I just run my plier over it, like that, it does work, harden it a little bit, but not so much that it prevents you from working with the wire.
Right.
And then also, you guys, when I straightened it, I didn't cut it off of the spool, because that spool gives me something to hang on to as I straighten. If I do cut it off and I need to straighten it, and I'm just going to cut off, this is about a foot maybe. If I do cut it off and I have to straighten it, I'll hold it in my chain nose pliers and then swipe my tool over it. If I hold this in my hand just doesn't have the grip that I need.
Right.
Or sometimes I over grip with this hand. So just holding it lightly with your chain nose really helps you straighten everything out. Okay? So let's do this with these big beads. Let's free up these beads, as I like to say. Free the beads, right? Let's free them up. Again, our 5mm rondelles, which I love, love. And you can see I had Emily choose these off the wall so that we had shapes that were a variation. Okay? So not all of the shapes are the same. So we've got English cuts in 8mm, the rondelles in 5mm, and then these 6mm melons. So this gives us a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of texture,
right.
I guess, in
well,
the
and
piece.
For sure with the English cuts that have so much great texture on them, but melons are kind of one of my faves too. Mm-hmm. And I love how they work. It's nice that they have kind of some edges maybe to work on.
Yeah, right, and things will sit nicely up against them. So to start, you guys, and you guys are just going to laugh when you see how easy this is. Here's my wire. It's 22 gauge for this practice run, and then we're going to move over to the smaller beads with the 26 gauge and the smaller beads. So all you do is, I don't know, I'm going to pick up 4 beads, okay?
Is 4 an arbitrary number?
It's completely arbitrary.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to slide these all the way to the middle, okay, of my wire. And I'm just going to kind of bring them into a little circle, kind of like this, and give this guy a little twist. Okay? There's my packet. Now, if I had started with the shape, I'm just going to freeform this. But you guys can see with the heart that I'm going to do, I actually drew a little heart on a piece of paper. So you could draw an armature or an outline shape for this. But I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. So there's my 4. And then if I want, I can maybe bring the wire around once. Just choose one, doesn't matter. And maybe I'll poke it through the packet. Okay? And maybe this wire will just lay here like that. Now, I don't know, I'm looking at the space here. I think, oh, that's a good rondelle-sized space. So I'm going to pick up 1 rondelle. And if your hands don't want to grip, sometimes like me, I'll use either my straight chain nose or my bent chain nose to help me pull that. And so you can see, there's that guy. Now maybe it's time for, I don't know, an English cut over here. And since these beads are big, I'm only adding like 1 or 2 at a time here. When I move to my smaller beads, I'm going to add more. Now notice what I'm doing. I'm doing this almost automatically without thinking about it. I know I want that English cut to sit here in kind of that space. So as I'm pulling this through, I put my thumb there to stop the English cut from jumping on top. So see how it's starting to make a flat piece of fabric. So now I look there and I go, well, it's kind of a small space. Maybe I'm going to put our friend the rondelle there. And especially with thinner gauge, you guys, and just find a hole. I'm just trying to poke the end of this wire somewhere, so when you find a hole. So see how it's coming through. I'm going to grab it. And see how when it stops there, when I want it to stop, I'm going to put my thumb on it and hold it and then tighten.
That makes good sense. I like this technique.
I like this technique too, I must confess. Let's put 2 on, just for fun. And then you can also kind of see, well, where does this want to sit? Maybe this wants to sit, maybe I want to bring this around, so maybe I'll add 1 more something there. So now I'm adding 3 beads on, and then I'll find a hole and I'll dive through it.
And how did you know how much wire to cut?
No, I didn't.
So you started with about a foot, maybe 14
inches? Yeah, about
inches?
a foot. Yeah,
okay.
About a foot. And I just guessed. But when I measured that first one out, I think I mentioned that it was about a foot. But you can, whatever comfortable length is easy for you to work with. Okay, so can you see now here, Em? I have this hole here.
I see that gap.
A gap. Mind the gap. So I'm going to bring my wire over, and maybe I'll poke it through, I don't know, like that to stabilize. And then I'm going to bring my wire over to where that gap is, and I'm going to grab a bead, this English cut, because it's super nice. And I'll just bend the wire, place that English cut right where I want it to go, and dive the wire back through.
So are you worrying about having a front or back right now?
That's just what I was just what I was thinking. Get out of my mind, Emily Miller.
Stop it.
So, not really. I think that one side naturally starts to become the front,
Okay.
and the other side naturally becomes the back. Can you see how that English cut that I just put up is now slightly raised?
Mm-hmm.
So this will probably now be my front.
Okay.
I don't need the fabric of the beads to be perfectly flat. And notice how if I need to just do some passes of wire without any beads on, see that there? I can just kind of also decorate and go, oh, I want a piece of wire over that
Maybe
English
a way
cut.
to move a wire to a different
Exactly.
area.
And if I have short, like these wires are getting pretty short to add anything, maybe I'll add one rondelle there. But once your wires get short, just like with thread when you're stringing or when you're doing a laddering or a seed bead project.
When you get to a good stopping spot, let's give them a view of what's
Yeah,
happening.
I will do. And I want to straighten. I also want to show you if my wire end gets a little wrinkly, it gets hard
Right.
to put it through. So I'll stop, I'll straighten it, and then I'll find an open space. I can see it there. Then I'll slide this through. And then I'll show you guys where we're at. And then I'll show you how to end this off. I'm going to add one more. It looks like I've got enough wire to add one more little precious melon bead. But just aim for the light, aim for the tunnel there. And that's where you shoot your thread through, or not your thread, but your wire. So I'll hold it up here, Brandon, you can kind of get a closer view of that.
Just turn your hand slightly towards, cheat out towards the camera.
There we go. Is that better? Okay. Does that help? And we can kind of hold it right in here pretty tight, I think, Brandon, and I'll
I've got it
keep
as
wrapping.
tight as I
Okay.
can on you.
So for this section, and I don't know, Bran, if we could even maybe, could we get any closer with this, camera-wise? If we needed to move it, we could. But I want to show you guys how I would finish this off now, because we've got enough wire, I think, over here to close. So I'm going to grab my bent chain nose, and see, you can see that little bridge of wire that's right here. Can you guys see that? I'm going to grab this wire. I'm going to come in and under that. Is that viewable?
So you're taking a little slip stitch.
Yeah, I'm just going to go around. Now I'm going to pull, whoops, pull and hit those beads. Pull that so it's tight.
So you just looped around right at the end of that bead.
Right at the end around.
Okay.
Now I'm going to do this again. I'm going to take it in again.
Gosh, pliers. We wouldn't be able to do any of this jewelry work without pliers.
Especially these bent chain.
Right. They really get in the
help.
good spots.
And see how now there's that little tail. I'm going to grab it and tighten. And now I'll clip off that extra. And that little end, I'm going to poke in. So here, on this side, pardon me, I'm going to do the same thing. Maybe I'll add one more bead. So I've got a good length of wire here. Pass it through. And pass it around. Okay, just like that. Now, I've got a really good space to end this right here. Can you guys see that? That little, there's a little space that's opening up.
You just move it. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Then, I'm going to come around and bring it around again. And I'll do that a couple of times. Once and twice.
So you could really build any sort of shape you wanted to
You
with
can.
this.
Definitely. And see here, I'm going to clip that extra away. There we go. And so you can see, I mean, I've got the beginnings of any kind of little space, or any kind of little shape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How does that look? Are people able to see that that technique?
I'm dying to try this.
Okay. And so then, let me show you how to add on here, and then we'll get started
Okay.
on that one. So once I've got a little piece that's ready to go, I'll cut another length of wire. Again, I don't know, about 12 inches or so, about that. And then I'm just going to find a place to start it. And see how I've got a hole right here in this one? I'm going to kind of start it near that hole. And I like working with two edges of wire. So you can see I'm going to go to the middle here, like this. And then, where I have that little hole, I'm going to grab a rondelle, put that rondelle in the hole, and poke this wire up. Okay. And now I'm ready to just continue with this. Okay. So it would be the same with the small wires. Let me put these in a little bowl. If I'm starting it with the small heart, I've got a piece of wire here. Again, it's about 1 foot. And you can see I've just put, like, I don't know, this time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, whoops. Maybe I'll put another couple. Since they're small, this is for our first little bundle.
Right.
Okay. So I'll bring these together, bring them to the middle. Then I'm going to make that little twist, so I've got that little round circle.
Right.
Okay, so like this.
There's a name for this, is bundle.
A little bundle.
Yep.
Right? And twist.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to wrap a couple of times, and you'll notice the difference as you're working with this 26. It needs a little more support, so it's not too
So it's okay
malleable.
to layer it a little bit more.
Yeah,
and it'll all
definitely.
give it some
Give it some
grounding.
grounding, yeah, some stiffness to
Mm-hmm.
it. So now I'm just going to come in, and with the smaller beads, it's actually almost a little bit easier because you're filling up so much space there.
Mm-hmm.
So see, I put on a peanut, a hematite rondelle, and an 11-aught, and I'm just going to see where I want it to go. It looks like it fits there. Maybe I need one more bead, so let me get a...
This almost feels like kind of puzzles.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of finding
Exactly.
the interlocking piece where the
piece
puzzle
that
gets
works.
that works in that one spot.
Exactly. So I bring it through.
Making sure you get all the sky
All
first.
right, do all the sky, all the edges.
Right.
And again, when I'm first working on this, when I really want it to stay where I put it, I pinch it.
Right, as you're pulling.
As I pull, because then it kind of holds it in place. And so now I can do another couple of those wraps to kind of hold things in place again, and maybe pop it through. I don't even know where I'm popping it through. I'm just looking for an air hole there. But as you can see, as things start to take shape pretty quickly, so I drew this little heart on the piece of paper, and I can kind of start to say, oh, okay, I can hold this up next to my little drawing, and I can say, oh, I can visualize, all right, from here to here, that's where I'm going to have to fill in next. Okay? So I'll add some more wire, or add some more beads on the
I
wire.
really like this kind of working to a template because it gives you a little bit of structure. This is a very freeform kind of idea, but it's nice to have a little tiny bit of kind of direction. Otherwise, I think I would end up with a big knot
Right.
of beads. Although it did make me think that I wanted to make beaded beads this way right away.
Yeah, right away.
Right?
Yeah, and this really does have a kind of freeform peyote stitch feel to it, which is my favorite bead stitch, really. And see again here, see how these are kind of moving around a little bit? That's okay. I can come in and tighten all of that up. So I'll do that by adding a 4mm. And I'm going to lay that 4mm into that space. And I'll come in and I'll add some wire, poke it through. Why do we always work on the dark sample, Emily, for the demo? When
I don't know.
Looking at going, wow, why are we working with the dark sample? Then I'm going to add a few little 11-aughts, and sometimes that little row of 11-aughts also helps me to kind of transition into another space. So here's my little row of 11-aughts. Where's the front? Where did I want to go? And maybe I'll just lay that little row right there and pop this up and go through. Then sometimes if it feels a little wiggly, I'll take a moment and firm everything up with my wire tails.
Oh, I see. So you're kind of building in some layering to give yourself a little bit more stability.
Yeah, exactly. Gives it a little more of a stable ground. Go through there. All right, so I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Okay.
And I'm going to work on that other little bundle that you've got.
Okay.
I'm going to hand that to you.
Terrific. Let's trade.
Now, I want to show you guys how I would add some wire to this one. And let's see where we are with this. Pardon me.
Manny
I'm
was
steal one of those mints from you.
okay. Manny was just positing maybe she would we could do a frame and do this in the middle of a frame.
So I have done a frame. This was for the very first issue, if you guys remember Art Jewelry magazine that was put out by the people who published Bead and Button. This was a billion years ago. I did a piece. I need to find where that piece is. I still have the article. And it may be if you search on the Bead and Button website for the Art Jewelry articles, you may be able to find it. But what I did was I created an armature. It was probably about this size. And that armature that I made, this was maybe, I think it was 14 gauge wire. And the armature kind of overlapped and I hammered it flat. Pardon me, I hammered it flat and then I took maybe, I don't know, 24 gauge here and did a wrap to close it. And then with my 26 gauge, I started that 26 gauge on the side and did a length of beads across. So small bead, small bead, small bead, maybe big bead, small bead, medium-sized bead, small bead. Okay? Then that was my starting armature. And then I just came in and started to fill in with all of that freeform wrapping. So that's a good way to do it as well. I loved doing this. And then I think what I actually did with the piece, it kind of came around like this, around like this, around like this, around, and then I did a loop up here, a continuous loop, and then came around and then wire wrapped it closed. And then that loop I connected a jump ring to later. And then chain or something like that. I'll look for the piece. It was it's probably in my archive.
You think it might be in your archive?
Waiting to go into the museum. But this is a great way to do it as well. This would be a fun one to do for another Facebook Live.
Yeah.
But let me show you guys how to attach some wire. Here's the piece that I was working on earlier. Oh, I wanted to use this because of the armature. Or my template. So you can see I'm starting to fill in here. So I don't have that much more to go on this side of the heart here. Just a few more beads. And then this is the part where you really kind of have to make sure that that little two lobes of the heart are defined. So I'm going to work on that part now. But let me go ahead and just finish this one off by poking the end of that wire through, catching it around another wire and pulling it tight. Let me do this twice. I want my bent chain for this. The regular chain will do it, but the bent chain really helps you get that wire right around there. Okay. And then I'm going to come in and clip. Okay. So now on this side, I can also wind this off, but I'll add another piece of wire. So what do I have? I'm using 24 gauge. Where'd that 24 gauge go? Nope, not silver. Vintage bronze. Here it is. I knew it was here somewhere. Again, about a foot, foot and a half, whatever works for you. I don't know. However much this is. That looks good. Now I'm going to start it just like I started the other one. I'm going to poke it through somewhere, anywhere that it wants to go. Bring it to the center and maybe wrap it around one more time. Like this, and up and through. Now I'm ready to add more beads. So let's add more beads. And so let me get my little template so I can see what I'm working towards.
And you know, I like this little template. It's not a template in this case. It's really just something to
really
kind of work against.
Yeah, it's really kind of
a very
loose
idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it does help you rein it in when you're...
Yeah, sometimes I need a little reining in,
Yeah.
Kate.
How's that working for you, Em?
It's good. It's good. It's in a funny way. I think it might almost be so freeform that it's
too freeform.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm thinking and working, and I
Yeah.
should not be thinking. I should just be
And
working.
that's the thing that I hear from students when I teach this class. I haven't taught this class in a while, but I remember that it was one of the issues that people had, that it's almost too freeform. It's like, oh, no, I need a few more parameters.
Right.
So,
although after I've done a few
yeah,
pieces now, I feel
a few little rounds.
Yeah, I feel a little bit more interested in the. It's very free form. I mean, it is quite freeing, and
you know, as you're making your heart, if it's not quite looking like a heart, what I do is I kind of turn my piece until I find where it fits into the template, and then kind of rearrange it from there.
Yeah.
I totally do that.
I can totally see that. But yeah, I thought I would just sort of continue to fill in sort of the inner space of this, and if we are imagining that
look how fast you are.
Well, I've only done a little tiny bit.
That's great. And notice how, let me show that again real quick, Em.
Yeah.
This is the other piece, the piece that I had. See how my piece has a lot of bulk right here, and you're doing a great job at making it kind of slim. So it just depends. It could be a little tighter and thinner, or it could also have a little more bulk to it. Whatever works. I'm going to hand this back to you.
I mean, I could see doing a starfish sort of shape with this.
Yeah, definitely.
Or some sort of a mermaid tail.
Yeah.
That I could do with that.
And I think if you kind of hold the shape in your mind's eye, don't get so, like what I'm doing here is I'm starting to look at, okay, here's the top of the lobe, here I'm coming down, and the other part of the heart's going to be like over here.
Right.
So I'm just kind of building up this little area just slightly, holding the shape of the heart in my mind's eye to kind of help me make sure that I'm getting this.
Are you working on the left lobe of the heart? Or the right lobe?
I think this is going to be the left.
Oh, me too.
I think. Probably naturally because we're right-handed.
Yeah, we tend to do that.
So we're going towards the opposite.
Right.
And again, if your wire is wrinkly,
straighten that sucker up.
Straighten it out. Yes. And we're just going to come through. But seriously, I did one of these that was a ball. I made it into kind of a round ball pendant. I don't know, Janice, if you remember that pendant. I wore that sucker for years. I think it's when we had that Indian glass mix way back in the day at our brick and mortar bead shop. I wore that sucker on some 3mm cotton cord forever and ever and ever. I must still have that too in my bead archive. So see, as I try and fill things in, I'm just adding like 2 little tiny beads. So add a bunch or as little as you need to kind of fill in. See, I'm working on the rim of the upper rim of the heart because this looks a little wonky. So I want to fix it.
Pass me some more wire, would you?
Oh, sure, sorry.
So there was a
There you
pendant that was on the side that Geet linked to, or Geeta managed to link to. So I think they're all looking at your pendant.
Oh, from way back in the day?
Yes. Geeta's the genius, and she found it.
Oh, that's awesome. Geeta, I don't see your link. Do you see it there, Em?
It's back a ways.
I gotta go back a little bit here. Let's see.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah, facet jewelry. There it is. I'm going to look at it right now. Yes! Look at, oh, that's a blast from my past. Yeah, there it is. There's those directions right on there. Uncredited. Oh, no, it does say by Kate. I'm just, right? Oh, I'm so bad. Well, where's it say Kate Richburg? Just kidding, you guys. I always like to give people a little
You're
guff.
watching out for, but you're watching out for your interest. What are you talking about?
That was way back from the first issue of Art Jewelry Magazine, maybe 2003, 2004. Oh, it's great to know that it's still up and getting used. That makes me happy. So again, floating that in there, really great skills. Geeta, your linking skills are unsurpassed. Wouldn't you say, Em?
I would. Okay, I've forgotten how to add wire.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to cut a length of wire.
I got it.
And I just want you to poke it into the packet.
Okay.
Anywhere.
Any place. All right.
Now I want you to wind that wire through the packet one more time.
Okay. And should I go to the middle of the wire?
Yeah, go to the middle of the wire.
Okay, so I'm kind of starting off like we did in the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll end up with 2 tails.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if you don't like working with 2 tails, make one tail shorter and one tail
No,
longer.
I get it.
Whatever
I get it.
works.
It's nice because it does keeps you from going around and around the same direction every time.
Yeah.
It forces you to work in a little bit more dimension here. So I do like that.
And so you can see I'm going to fill in right here. And then I want to show you guys how we're going to string this. The stringing part for me, I don't know, I just love making these little hearts so much that sometimes the stringing is almost a little bit of an afterthought. So when I thought about this earlier in the week, I thought, oh, people are going to want to know what the heck to put this thing on. So you could simply use cord and slide it on some cord, or, you know, maybe you put it on a pendant or something, or a strand of something that you might already have. But I wanted to show you a crimp that we have that I think I underutilize it all the time. And I thought, oh my gosh, it'll be perfect for this because I wanted kind of a sleek look. I want to just add one more bead in here, and then we'll move on. You get so addicted, I can't stop adding little beads here. But I do want to show you this edge, and then we'll get on to the stringing portion. So see here, let me get my armature back. So see how I've really filled this out. I'm going to turn it towards you guys so you can see it. How I've really filled this out. And now I'm going to start making the V for the other lobe right here. So that's pretty good space.
Yeah.
Shaping.
Boy, you've gone quickly.
Well,
Talk about fast.
Well, wire's my jam. You know how it is. Okay, so let me show you the stringing part of this. Did we see our friend Tammy Drennan come on? I wanted to, at the beginning of the broadcast, I was going to wish our bead table, bead shop viewer friend, Tammy Drinnen. It's her birthday today.
Oh, what a nice day to have a birthday
Yeah,
on.
she's a Valentine's birthday
Yeah.
lady.
That's cool.
So, but I think she's watching. She must be watching on here. I'm not sure if I saw her jump on. So this is our crimp called the Perfect Crimp. Okay. And let me put that on.
It threw me when you told me to grab these, and we were talking about it, clasps, because it's the perfect crimp clasp.
It is. It's a perfect crimp clasp. And, pardon me, and I really wanted to show you guys this one because I love it so much. So I'm going to string on, no, this isn't what I'm using. Let's try this again. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. We've got these 4mm, we just got them in. They're brand spanking new, and the quality on these garnets
Really pretty.
are really pretty.
Very even, and I'm sure the holes are
And
good.
the holes are perfect. Now, the thing about these kind of semi-precious rounds that you guys will notice, these are garnet rounds. And you can see the strand, how they're strung on a colored thread. So a lot of times when we get strands of beads from overseas, and it's been this way, it's kind of typical in the bead industry, they're strung on a colored thread to kind of intensify their color.
Yep.
So you see that a lot with eyelights are strung on blue, garnets are strung on a red or a pink string. But the color on these garnets are really nice and even. And what I'm also noticing is, I'm going to pull out this 22 gauge wire. Emily, you're going to love this. The hole on this garnet, 22 gauge.
It's amazing.
Straight all the way through.
You know, I have to tell you, I had a bad experience with garnets really early on.
Well, we all have. Because
Because
that's how garnets were.
Garnets have a tendency, they're very hard as a stone goes. Excuse me. And they're hard to, they make them very tiny, and they dye them very often, or mostly, and
Enhance them.
And the holes are almost never straight
Through. One hole is usually larger than the other.
And I gotta pull this out of your fingers.
Okay, here, I'm going to steal those.
All right.
Right, there we go.
I want you to look at this. Now, I'm not straightening anything, but these are straight on the string.
Yeah, they're not like wonky.
No. And it's a beautiful strand of garnets.
Yeah, and so the quality, so when we get new beads and stuff here at beadshop.com, that's one of the things we look at, you guys. And it's one of the things I think that you should look at when you're buying semi-precious.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Emily mentioned, you can see how these beads are like one after the other straight on the strand. The holes are drilled right through the center of these stones.
And if you've never bought stones sort of out in the wild, look at them carefully, and don't get, you know, drawn into their seductive beauty until you actually look at them carefully.
Look at the quality.
Look at the quality. If the holes are poorly drilled, that's fussing around time you're going to spend trying to get that all sorted out.
And Emily, look at what I'm doing here with these. You could never do that with garnets.
No.
My little trick of pulling it off, holding them in between my fingers so that the hole is still lined up. And see how I can poke that soft flex. Yep, and this,
it would be a mess.
This we don't have to cull.
No, I know.
It's just so good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little, I've got some leftovers from my strand from before. I'm going to put on a daisy spacer. I'm going to put on this rice pearl. I'm going to go through my little, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this too, but I'm going to go through my little bail that I made on there. Back through with another rice pearl. These rice pearls, since they're slightly elongated, sit nicely for that. And then another little
really
daisy
nice on
spacer.
either side.
Yeah, and now I'm going to continue to string.
I think they're shaped like Rice Krispies.
They are a little bit of a Rice Krispie treat.
Okay.
Whoops. So can you see how, yep, that little rice pearl, just like that, how that makes that sit. Really nice. Really nice. And so we're going to come in and continue to string. Just go ahead, pull them off, and put them on. Look at how fast. I can't believe these are stringing up as quickly as they are. And it's such a nice, the color is nice and intense and pretty.
Yeah, they actually look about the same color on or off that hot pink string.
Which is really, it goes to show the quality of these guys.
Yeah,
I heart them. I heart them, literally heart them. So now, lengthwise for this piece, I am doing this extremely arbitrarily and off the cuff, but let's take a look at this length. So this is going to be kind of a shorter piece. We're going to hopefully end up at about 16 inches. This is exactly, you guys, how I'd string this piece if I were working at my table. I'd string from both sides, and then before I put the closure on, I would take a moment and fix the length. So we're going to do that now. Let's see here. Where's my little thing? All right, so let me see. Sorry about the cough, you guys. I still have got that Tucson cough.
That's like kennel cough.
I do. Someone has to take me to the vet. No. That's funny. Ginger asked if that was the water guy that came in.
No.
Nope, that was the mailman. Our regular letter carrier is on vacation, who is really fantastic, so he knows when he comes in on Wednesdays not to be super loud. But this guy doesn't. So we'll forgive our letter carrier this time.
They work plenty hard.
They do. So can you see, you guys, how I am just evening this up at the end? Let's make sure. So I'm just doing this visually. I'm not counting the beads. And you can see I've got, it looks like I'm one actually short. So I will measure now this single strand of garnets with the clasp. I'm going to add the clasp, and I'm going to add a couple of little extras. So this is going to shake out at about 18 inches.
Perfect.
This necklace. So I'm going to come in, and I've got 4 beads per side to add. So I'm going to free the soft flex on the other side. Just like this. I've been working off the spool so as not to have any waste.
That's how I do it too.
I do. I like it. And as you all know, the bead's habitat is the floor, so I'm going to use a bead stopper or a piece of tape. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put on my last 2, 1 and 2. And I want to echo this motif that I did down there. So I'm going to use a daisy spacer and a rice bead.
I like making the back of the necklace look as pretty as the front.
I do too, and maybe I'll use 2. I like how 2 looks.
2, oh yeah.
2 rice beads.
That's
now
nice.
I've taken the tape off the other side. I'm playing with fire. I have
loose beads.
Both
Look out.
ends of my soft flex open, so I'm not picking this up off the table, because if I do and I drop a piece, I drop a side, it will all end in tears.
Oh, sad.
I have seen it happen before.
I've had it happen before.
Yes, I have too. So there's no crying in beads, right? Sometimes there is.
Sometimes there is.
So now I'm going to put a piece of tape back on the end, and I'm going to put this piece of tape on and bend it over. And now I'm going to slide everything up. And now I'll really double check the length at this point. Okay. And I'll double check to make sure that everything lines up. Yep, we're in good shape. I'll give it one more measure so you guys can see. So yeah, when I put the clasp on, the clasp is going to add about right up to 18 inches on the money. So let's look at this clasp, you guys. It's a little clasp. It's called the Perfect Crimp. And can you see how there's a little tiny hole down in there? Okay. And that hole, that's where I'm going to put. That's where I'm going to put my my soft flex through. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to just push my soft flex right in. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm also, at this point, I'm going to take a look, a visual, pull it out, and I can see that's about how much soft flex I'm going to need left over to crimp on the other side.
Oh,
right?
You're smart.
So on this side, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Okay, because, and you can also see I'm putting the loop of this side on. There's a hole, let me show you on this one. There's a hole on the hook side. So I keep the hook side for last so I can adjust, and you'll see that.
Right.
So stick with me, Emily Miller, stick with me.
Oh my God, Kate, you're bringing it home.
I'm bringing it home. Let's see, you know, I usually crimp these flat, but I'm going to test this. I'm going to go rogue and see if I can crimp this. I don't know. I'm backing down. I was going to crimp it with the crimping plier, but I don't think I am. I'm just going to come in and really flatten this sucker out nicely with my chain nose plier. And I'm going to turn it and crimp. Now, what you want to do, I need to get this a little closer to my eyes, you guys, so bear with me here. And back and forth. What you don't want to do is crimp this not tightly enough so that the soft flex pulls out.
That would worry me a little bit.
Yeah. Now, what you can do, what I did, oh yeah, and see, this is nice and tight though. That's really pull on it to make sure it's not going anywhere. What I did last week when I did the float necklace with the monthly mix,
yes,
I used the oval crimp, and I put a tiny bit of zap glue in. You could do that for this too.
You're doing that just as kind of a backup.
Just as a little backup.
Yep.
So it fills everything in.
You know, I was watching
but see this? Look at this.
I was watching your Free Tip Friday, and I had to go back to work. I couldn't watch the whole thing.
Right. So
just
see
dropped
how that,
in on my 10-minute break.
So see how that slides in? Look at how pretty that looks.
Oh, it looks so clean. Wow.
So clean. I love them. And these don't get enough love.
Right.
I think. So now watch you guys. I'm going to put this through. And I'm going to grab that soft flex so it goes in. Now I'm going to close the crimp. Can you see that? So it's closed. So when I put my finger on that crimp and slide everything closed, whoops, stay closed, and slide everything tight and closed, it's going to stay
in place,
closed, and it gives me enough play in this necklace so that I don't
make it too tight.
Don't make it too tight.
Air.
Okay? Air. I need just a touch of air. So I'm going to, this thread keeps making it want to pop out. So I'm going to hold it up, make sure it's tight. Hold it so it's visually tight but not physically tight. If I wanted to put a little drop of zap inside, I could put a little zap. Well, let me show you. I've got zap right here. We might as well do it instead of talk about it.
I was just asking about the glue.
Let's do it. Do I have a little, do I have a little baggie? You know I like a baggie. I must.
No. I'll get you one.
Will ya?
Yep.
Will ya, Emily Miller? I'm going to use for this the zap glue. And, you know, I have confidence that my closure will close nicely for crimping, but I'm just going to go ahead and add the zap because you guys were asking. So now watch this, okay? I'm going to put this on. I'm going to actually put it right here on my baggie. I'm going to use my trusty toothpick. Can you guys see that? I'm going to use my trusty toothpick to get a little bit of that zap. Control your glue, you guys.
No loosey-goosey glue?
No loosey-goosey glue. See how I'm adding a little bit of that zap to the Softflex? Now as I come in, that zap will just come right up into my crimp. I'm going to take, there's a little bit of extra there, come up into my crimp, and I'll let that sit for just a moment. Okay? And then I'm going to crimp it in just a second. So I wanted to show you guys with the how to do the hanging portion of this as well. So don't worry, we're going to get to that. I don't want you to think I've forgotten it, and I also have not forgotten how to add this piece on either. So we'll get there. So now I'm just going to come in and really carefully, I'm going to use my bent chain, and I'm going to start and I'm going to grab it. I'm going to crimp, and then once it's made that initial crimp, I can take that piece off or unclasp it and really crimp. And I'm going to go back and forth, and you can see when I pull it down, see there's a little bit of air there.
Yep.
Right? A little bit. But when that necklace is closed,
and in a circle,
you're not going to see that air. And that's like life or death to this clasp. Because if it's too tight, these beads are going to be pushing against it, pushing against it, pushing against it. So,
being all pushy.
Being all pushy and the like. But see how when it's closed, how it just takes up that space. Now, I'm going to really pull on this to make sure that it's in, that it's tight. Tight. And I use the zap on this, you guys, instead of the GS Hypo, because the zap dries like that in a flash, quick. You could use Hypo, but the zap, I found, since it's a gel, it's a little more viscous, and it hangs onto that a little bit better. Now see, Brendan, I know it's going to be hard for you to catch this, but see where I'm pulling on my Softflex, I'm pushing against where I want to cut it with my cutter, and now I'm going to go ahead and clip. Clip right there. Okay? So now I have just the bare little minimum. I could come back in if I wanted to with my zap toothpick. Let me get a little drop of that glue on here. I could shove a little more glue down that hole if I wanted. But now, et voila. That's ready to go.
Really pretty, Katie.
Okay.
Yep, I like it.
So in the few minutes we've got left, I want to show you guys how to connect, how to make that little wire wrap, and also how to add the briolette, because it's easier than you think it is. Okay. Yeah, see, you guys are loving this clasp. I know we did have them, we had them on sale because no one was getting them, but don't worry, we'll hopefully keep these. We've got plenty of these clasps in, and you guys will now be able to use them. I love them. I feel like they didn't get enough love, so that's why I put them on this one. But you could put a regular clasp on. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have this, but just look at that closure. Look at that end.
The finish looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
I do really believe that for most of us, when whatever we do at the end of our pieces kind of separates the dilettantes from
that's right, from the designers.
From the designers.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at it as a whole piece, you're not just thinking about the pendant in the front.
Right.
You're actually looking at the whole thing in a way of, how am I going to make these two things stay together? How am I going to make them look great and amazing?
Right.
And, dare I say, professional. But I guess I really mean that that you look at it with somewhat of a critical eye.
Right, and you're looking at the piece as a whole.
Right.
Not just in the parts.
Right.
You know? I'm going to slide this over to the side and we can come back to that in a second. Because I want to show you guys how I would add the little dangle. And I'm going to do this. Obviously, this one isn't finished. You can see it on here pretty well as well. But the gauge that I've used is 24 for the bail. And you could use 22 if you wanted to. It just depends. But I wouldn't use anything thinner than 24. May I have the wire nylon jaw plier?
Sure.
So here's my wire. I'm straightening this out. And again, I don't know, maybe 6 inches this is. Whatever works for you. And we would do this obviously after the piece is completed, but it's the same regardless of where you put it. So you can see I'm going to aim for putting it in the center, but in this case I'm going to aim for just putting it on the piece itself. So I find a place where I want to start the bail, and I'm going to go in a little further down so it's not on the edge. Okay? Now I'm going to come up and I'm going to go about, I don't know, maybe 1/3 to 2/3 wire here. With the short end, I'm just going to do a couple of wraps, one on top of the other. And I'll clip that end away. So I still have a lot of wire up here to work with. And if I can see it, I'm going to use my bent chain to push that little end in. I know it's super fine for you to see, but there's just a little 2-hold wrap right there. Now I want to figure out what I want to do for a little bead over the bail. And I think for this one, since I have a couple of kind of cute beads here, I'll do a hematite, a chirahishi, and a 4mm. Okay. Now it's just simply a matter of doing the wire wrap. I'm going to grip here at the top, just like you did on your wire 101, Em.
Yep.
Grip at the top, get my round nose.
Yep. A simple good old-fashioned wire wrap.
Good old-fashioned wire wrap. Now for this, though, since it's a pendant, I'm going to go around once. Now watch what I do, you guys. I'm going to flip. Let me get these other tools out of the way so we've got clear sailing. I'm going to flip, if I'm down here, I'm going to flip my tool up, come around and underneath, and then put my piece back on the tool and come up and around again. So I have a doubled up loop. It makes it a little sturdier, and I also think it adds a little visual weight to the top of it. Okay? Now I'm just going to come in and wire wrap from below that loop to the top of my beads. Now on this one, the heart, I wrapped over the beads themselves. So I'm just going to keep going.
I like that embellishing on a wrap loop.
I do too. I do too. And then I kind of wrap over the original wire wrap, and I'll cut away my excess, clip it in nice and tight, making sure that I'm only clipping that wire, not the rest of the wires. Push it in, and that's ready. Okay. Obviously, we need to do some more work with the heart, but if this were a different shape or whatever, that's how you do it. Okay. Now let me show you. I'm going to add, there's a little space there for the briolette, so I'll just show you. Briolette couldn't be easier. Let's add that briolette right there. The briolette I've used, we need to use a thin gauge, of course. I'm going to grab that 20, this is 26 gauge. The briolettes have a tiny hole.
Super tiny.
So tiny. I'm going to cut another, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's 8 inches of wire. Okay. I'm going to start by placing the wire through the top of that briolette. Then I'm going to poke these wires in. I'm going to poke one wire in through, lay the briolette where I want it, and poke the other wire through. You'll see that wire coming at you any second. Okay. Now I'm going to put the wire that I just popped it in, I'm going to pop it up on the other side, the opposite side. I'm going to hold that briolette in place with my thumb, and then I'll just come around and maybe I'll put a piece of wire over the top of that briolette and then poke it through. So you're really just free-forming this sucker around, placing the wire wherever you wanted it to be. Here's that other piece that I had from earlier, so I'll push it up, cage this wire over here, whoops, or cage the briolette over there, poke it back down. And I'm hardly even watching what I'm doing, I'm just feeling along the way with this wire to find a little
nook and cranny for it?
Yeah, a little thing, a little place. Let me grab it with my chain nose. There we go, there's a space for it. Then I can just come in and finish this off by poking the wire back down and wrapping it a couple of times. Okay. So now you can see, let me straighten all these wires out, how that wire just comes up and over the heart, and it's nice and sturdy on there. Super easy. Now I wanted to show you one more little trick. It's kind of hard to see on this thin gauge wire, so I want to bring back my big necklace so you guys can see something. Let me get this big guy back in. There's a couple of places here, especially if you're working with the heavier wires, and I'll bring this guy back in too. Like you can see in this wire, in this piece here, there's a little bit of space in that wire, or underneath that wire. So if I wanted to tighten things up to be a little tighter, I could come in, grab that wire, and give it a little quarter turn. See that there?
Do you do it with your chain nose pliers usually?
I do it with my chain nose.
Okay.
Because I grab it and turn it a quarter turn. I'll do it one more time on this one. You have to do it where there's wire. I'll do it on this one here. Where the wire has room to twist. If you do it on a tight wire, you're going to snap it.
Right.
Okay? So here's where this wire has room. I'm going to grab it and I'll turn it at an angle. Just a quarter angle. Right? Then I'll do that same thing, I don't know, over here. Here's a good one. Here. And a turn. And you can see on this necklace, I thought I had some here. Yeah, you can see like on this, I did it on the front of that bead, I did it there, I did it there, I did it over there. You can really see this one here. So it just pulls the wire in a little tighter. So it's a good little trick, my little lightning bolt trick. Okay. How's yours coming along, Ms. Miller?
I think I'm kind of going along.
Oh my
okay.
gosh!
It's a little bit big.
You're the best.
You know, where's your other chunk?
Where is my chunk?
Right there.
There it is. So we
have to
could
back him up a little bit.
Yeah, we could connect those two. There and there, which I think we will.
Yeah.
Right? We just get some wire and connect it in. Look at how good that is. I love this color palette.
Yeah, I
love
do.
it,
I like
love
this
it,
color
love it.
palette too. I didn't think I would, but I really do.
I think it looks awesome.
Yep.
Well, great. And you can see where that's going. That's going right over to here. Though I might have you just kind of finish it because your piece is nice and flat. And you don't have that much more to go.
No, I don't.
It's really pretty. It's really nice. And then the color we chose to string this on, we're going to use this. There's a strand sitting right behind me on the wall here. I think it is. Let me turn the other way. There it is. We use this 4mm labradorite. That's what we're going to string.
Oh, how pretty that's going to be.
That's what we'll string that guy on. Look at how nice that looks.
We'll throw some of those bronze
Yeah,
spacers.
throw some of the bronze and stuff in. You can see we don't use that many beads for this project. So the materials list that we've provided, you're going to have enough to make multiples of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for maybe the true cuts. You might want to get a little bit of extras
Yep.
of those.
Yep. Yep. So it looks great, I think. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Yeah. So, Bran, I think we can move the camera back and we'll start wrapping this broadcast up. Gosh, that time goes by quickly, doesn't it?
I know. It's amazing when you're not watching the clock how fast it goes.
How fast it goes. Yep. Well, I hope... Oh, so there's a question, and I thought it was a really good question. Lynn Carling asked, how did you get this so flat? And you were really pinching this down.
Also,
tell me a little bit about what your impressions
maybe while you were pulling it very tightly, I didn't pull it quite as tight.
Okay.
And then since I'm using the thinner wire, I really kind of went back and did a bunch of stitching to kind of keep it
tighten it up,
keep it tight. But that was and I didn't even realize that could be the point. I was thinking about a lobe. But now I can just do that part. Yeah.
No, it looks great. You've done a fantastic job as always.
Well, you're a good teacher.
Well, you're a good wire worker. See how we are?
Perfect.
No, I think it's really fun. So I would suggest you guys jump in.
Yeah,
take a look
give
at the
it a
recipe
try.
And give it a try. I think it's really, you can see it doesn't take that much time, and you can make your own shape. We're really excited to see what you might be doing. So we also wanted to mention, before we sign off, it's just about that time, we opened up enrollments. Today is Valentine's Day, 2/14/18. Enrollments just started for our bead retreat. We opened them up to the general public. We had some pre-sale to the members who had come, or the attendees who'd come last time. And sign-ups are already going hot and heavy this morning. So our bead retreat is going to be in September, as it was last year. It's our second annual. It's called the Best of Both Worlds. You can go right to our homepage. There's a big slider. You can click on it. All of the information is there. There's a download button for the FAQ that you can download and read a little more about it. But this year is going to be epic. Emily and I and Janice are going to be mixing wire
and stringing.
So that's why we've called it the Best of Both Worlds.
I'm so happy to go back to the Franciscan Center. It is very peaceful, very quiet. The time flew by for all of us.
It was so fun. We added a day. So it's 2 full days, like 2 kind of half days, the afternoon, Friday, and then we leave Monday morning after breakfast. But we've got Saturday and Sunday, 2 full bead days.
And I was really, really impressed from what happened with last year's group. Just
everything from
the steps of confidence that were really made. It was really lovely to see what people were making and sort of struggling with or wanting inspiration for, but just to see where everybody was. And it was nice. We had somebody there who'd never really strung beads before, but was there with her friend.
Right, yeah.
Right? And she had just as much fun and got just as much out of it as anybody else.
It was great. You know, the jewelry that everyone made and stuff was really, really incredible. My mom was there as well. She did a lot of great fun stuff.
Mom.
We had a lot of fun.
Quinn.
She's already,
she working?
We talked about the gift that she's making for everybody for this year. It's going to be a surprise.
Oh my God.
She's crazy. My mom is crazy.
Her mom is crazy.
It's awesome. Crazy
In
awesome.
the best way.
In the best way. But it was fun. We had a great goodie bag. I'm working on the goodie bags for everybody already. So it's going to be really, really fun. So if you are thinking about joining us, you can lay your deposit down and then you can pay the remainder in the 2 installments. It's all on the website. I know that if you're watching this later, we may have sold out or other things, maybe past the event time. But I just wanted to do a plug for that so that if you are thinking about it, do jump in.
Don't delay.
Because we only have a few spaces left.
Right.
We're getting close to full. So we'd love to see you in September in one of the most beautiful places in California.
And if you can't make it this year, we'll do it again next year.
We
so
do.
Don't worry. It'll be a different topic.
It'll be a different topic.
But it'll be just as much fun.
We'll also do some Facebook Lives from there. And Janice also mentioned in the comments she does have some bead get-togethers at her place on the East Coast. So you can always email info@beadshop.com for more info
That's
on
so
that.
cute of Janice to do it.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
So giving and generous to do that.
So before we end, we have a couple of little things that we want to share. Since it is Valentine's Day, we thought...
Is it really?
It is. Have a heart. Have a conversation
I've been eating conversation hearts
I
all
haven't
this
had
time.
one. What color should I have?
Blue.
I don't know. Blue, maybe. blue. I don't even know what this says. This one says real love. It's real love, man.
Real love.
Real love.
Yeah.
Oh. The blue is not good.
The blue's good. Come on.
It's okay. They all kind of taste the same.
Yeah.
This is why I don't eat candy conversation hearts. They're kind of chalky. So we have our sale going on today. Today is the 14th of February, 2018. And so we're having a store-wide today. If you throw Heart 20 in your coupon code box, we'll knock 20% off your order. And Emily, let's take a look at what we're giving away today. We thought it'd be fun to have a giveaway.
So we've been doing this as sort of the alternate to the everybody gets one thing kind of deal. And I really think this is fun. I mean, it's a chance to get something you might not have bought. Plus, it's the bag in this is just the best.
The prize package. We gave a fun drawing when you did Wire 101. Yep. Carolyn was the winner
I know,
of that one.
I was so happy.
She was super stoked. It was. She sent us a nice photo of her bag and everything with her little dog went in it and stuff. It was really, really cute. So we're doing a drawing today. So between now and 1 p.m. Pacific time, if you place an order and you write "Be Mine" in the shipping notes, the order notes box there, you'll be entered to win one of 2 prizes we have today. And since it's Valentine's Day, we thought the heart on your sleeve kit would be a fun thing to give away. So we've got one in the Red Roses giveaway or colorway, and one in the Blue Velvet colorway. And it comes with the ever coveted I Heart Bead Shop tote bags.
Very nice tote bags.
And we gave those away last year at our retreat.
Yeah.
And so
those Kate bundled them up very lovingly with
some
sweet
with
beads.
A little bit of beads and a little bit of leather. Yep. So we'll hold that drawing later today after 1 p.m. after everybody gets their orders in that qualify for the giveaway. If you're watching this and you place your order after 1 p.m., I'm sorry that you won't be entered. But make sure you guys, we had some sweet giveaways in the newsletter last weekend. Yep. Make sure that if you're not signed up for our newsletter over at beadshop.com, sign it up. We don't sell or give away or loan your emails to any other email address. And we do some fun giveaways, really great promos and stuff through our newsletter.
And I get something out of every newsletter you put out. I mean, I do find some information or something that I didn't know or I'm glad I knew about.
Yeah. We do a lot of communicating through that newsletter, so make sure you read it all the way to the bottom when it pops up in your inbox. Well, I guess that's it.
I guess so.
What are we doing next week? You know what we're doing next week.
I know what we're doing next week.
They're so good.
We're doing some more wire next week.
We are.
So we're kind of on a wire roll here.
We are.
I'm really looking forward to doing them because they're so pretty and colorful. We've got some new products to work with. Beads and wire again. I know. Who knew?
Yeah, some really cool new stuff. And we had a quick, we'll just go ahead and say the coupon code, it's 20%, Heart 20 in the box.
Heart 20 in the coupon box 20. To get your discount.
So yeah, next week with earrings, we're going to keep going. We've got, as Emily said, some great new products and stuff. I will see you on Friday for Free Tip Friday.
I'll see you next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, we'll be back. And it was great. Great job.
Thanks. I really enjoyed this, and it was fun to be the student for a change because, you know how it is.
I do know how it is.
It's fun.
It's great. Well, I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a happy Valentine's Day. To all you guys, hope there's a lot of love in your lives.
And chocolate.
And something else besides these candy hearts. They're a little. I'm gonna go spit
dry
it
and
out
crusty.
now that we're done. All right, you guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for
joining
joining
us.
us.
See you next week.
Bye bye.